Introducing Passport Bros, your ultimate travel companion. Download the app for free and embark on a journey where your adventures not only become unforgettable memories, but also opportunities to earn. With Passport Bros, your travel content is more than just photos and videos. It's your ticket to a fully monetizable network of like-minded adventurers. Imagine making money from your travel stories. Post videos, share your experiences, and let the world be a part of your journey. But that's not all. Connect with travelers from around the globe, join co-ed groups, and make lasting friendships, perhaps even with foreign women who share your passion for exploration. And here's the best part. Store your earnings securely in your Passport Bros wallet. No hassle, no worries. Just seamless transactions wherever your travels take you. Looking for the best local experiences? Passport Bros has got you covered. Get personalized recommendations for tour guides, rentals, and the hottest clubs in town. Did we mention the app is absolutely free to download? That's right. Your passport to a world of adventure is just a click away. And here's the cherry on top. With Passport Bros, you can make money while exploring new places. Turn your passion for travel into a source of income, right from your mobile device. So, what are you waiting for? Download Passport Bros now, share your journey, connect with fellow explorers, and let the adventure begin.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to another show. It is your man BMT, and I have a first-time guest on the show today, a well-traveled brother, all the way from, I guess you want to say, all throughout Asia and Africa, right?
Yeah, I've traveled to Africa a bit.
Okay, I got my man Francois in the building. How's everything going with you today, brother?
Good, good. How you doing, Aaron?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Listen, I've been watching your videos. My man Flight Madness, who I have on the show all the time. Shout out my man Flight Madness. He put me on to your content. Actually, he told me about you the first time because of the incident in Kazakhstan that went mini viral within the little travel space, right?
Right.
You know, I saw you in the club and everything. But as I looked at some of your content, you know, I didn't realize you had such a big channel. I'm just like, wow, this dude is really on it, man.
I'm trying, man. Trying to be like you.
Nah, man. Like you one of them guys, like I say, I love when I see content creators going to different countries. Right? Like, because it's a lot of content coming out of, you know, Thailand, a lot of content coming out of Colombia. It's kind of like the same content. Guys like might hire a girl or something and they'll just go around just talking stuff like that. But your vlogs, like you're really informational. Like you really have a subject and a topic that you're talking about as you're vlogging. So it's just not like, hey, look at me, I'm going to the grocery store today. You know, it's like you actually have really good content, man.
I actually thought that was kind of a downside of my content because maybe I spoke too much, like too informational, too like teachery. But hey, I'm glad someone likes it.
No, not at all, man. Like I'm not a big, huge fan of the guys just kind of just walk around and don't say anything. Like and that's shout out to my man Rami Travels. I rock with him too. Like he started that, and it was cool because I was like, okay, that's cool. He don't really say nothing. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just the viewer. But everybody started doing it, just kind of like walking around faceless and you just seeing like you're the eye. So you get to see around what's going on in that content, which is cool. But I like to hear stories, especially coming from, you know, like a black traveler's perspective, so to say.
Understood.
Right. So how many countries you been to thus far?
I think I'm at 30 now.
I gotta get my game up, man. I gotta step. My man Jay Focus been 81 countries. You've been to 30. I gotta get the double digits, man. I think I'm like at 9 or 10 or something like that.
Hey, that's still good too. I mean, you traveled, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you've been to 30 countries. 30 countries. Where
Yes,
are you located currently?
Currently, I'm located in Seoul, South Korea.
South Korea. Okay. Cool. And is that like your favorite country, or you there just kind of just hanging out, or?
Well, I live here. I work here. I've been here for 14 years, so this is like my hub, my home.
Wow, 14. That's a long time, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, do you enjoy living there? Because I've heard different things about South Korea.
Yeah, I love South Korea. Actually, before I lived here, I lived in France for 3 years,
Mhm.
and my contract and my visa was up in France. I wanted to renew, but at the same time, I was like, France is kind of not not overplayed, but I think I was done with France at that time. I think I
Mhm.
got as much as I could from France during those 3 years. So my plan was to come to Korea for 1 year,
Mhm.
have fun, save money, go back to France, work on becoming a diplomat. But I got stuck.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, even though you live in Korea, you've been pretty much hopping to different countries around Korea, like Kazakhstan and all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Korea is a really good hub for travel. Like Seoul Incheon Airport is amazing. I believe it's the best airport in the world. Very,
Hmm.
very simple facilitation of travel to anywhere on the globe. Like you can go to Japan, you can go to Central Asia, you can go to Africa. All of these places super easy to get to.
Oh, you can go to Africa easy as well.
Yeah, there are direct flights to Ethiopia, and of course from Ethiopia, then you can go anywhere. There are direct flights to Egypt. I
Hmm.
think there are direct flights to Kenya as well. So
Okay. And the infrastructure is pretty good out there because I think this is gonna sound crazy, but I know for the most part, a lot of Americans saw Korea maybe for the first time uh, through the Squid Game.
okay,
We've all heard of, everybody's heard of Korea, right? South Korea, because we know about South Korea, no Korea. But like to actually see Korea, it's like when you're watching the Squid Game, you're like, okay, this is Korea. Oh, this is nice. This is like a modern city,
yeah.
you know?
Infrastructure here is amazing. Like in some, I don't know if I can say this or not, but in some aspects, it's more advanced, the infrastructure,
Mhm.
than the United States. Like you rarely see
Mm.
potholes in the streets.
Mhm.
Everything is usually clean, very pristine, very orderly, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's just it's a joy to be here. It's a joy to go to the metro station
Mhm.
and to not see things broken. Like you can actually use all of the things, like uh, the ticket machines, the
Mhm.
turnstiles work. So yeah, infrastructure here is top notch.
Now, out there, is there like any English speaking hubs out there in the cities, or it's just you gotta know Korean? I don't know what's the language they speak, but
Yeah, they speak Korean here.
okay.
You can speak English in Korea, but mostly in Seoul. If you go outside of Seoul,
Mhm.
some people can speak English, but I think you better learn at least rudimentary Korean. Like just basic Korean can get you around like the rest of the country, or
Mhm.
I shouldn't say the rest of the country, but Korea has two main cities, two large cities. There's Seoul and there's Busan.
Mhm.
Busan is the second largest city located in the southeastern part of the country. Those two cities, you can speak English and pretty much get away with only knowing English. But if you go outside of these two cities, you probably need to know some basic Korean.
Okay, and is Korea pretty like expensive or
Comparable to the US,
yes?
it's not expensive. Comparable to Europe, not
Mhm.
expensive. But I guess it can be, yeah, depending on your lifestyle.
Okay, and is and we'll move on from Korea, but is it the North Korea thing that serious? Being like that close to it, is it like this kind of like vibe, like like it can go down anytime type vibe? Everybody's kind of on the edge, or it's just like that's more like just the media pumping it up.
Um, People here don't think about North Korea very often.
Okay.
Only maybe the soldiers think about North Korea or the
hmm
North Korean threat.
hmm
All of the Korean males have to go into the military when they turn 18 or 21 or whatever the age it is.
hmm
So sometimes they're talking about it, but usually the general population, there's no mention of it except in the media. I actually traveled to North Korea, and
What?
yeah, I went in 2013 when Obama was president,
Uh-huh.
and
You now
it
you
was
that stuff changes everything, man. You gotta tell us about that. You have to tell us about that.
yeah. So I remember, it was September 9/11, and what happened to the United States, and
hmm
everyone was like in this big uproar.
hmm
And George Bush was like, North Korea, Iran, there was another country. They were like the axis of evil. And I was like, okay, I want to actually go and see if these countries are as evil as they're being claimed. So when
Damn, okay.
yeah, so so when I got
we got a different type of brother right here now.
yeah, I just want to know because
Right.
at that time in my life I started questioning a lot of things,
Mhm.
and I was like getting into my wanderlust phase. So
Mhm.
when Obama became president, I moved out here to Korea. I was like, I'm gonna go. So I went, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Of course, everything was controlled. We had tour guides with us all the time. You can't really speak to the locals, but uh, for the most part, the people in North Korea are people just like anywhere else in the world. Only
Mhm.
the government is not good.
Right. Right.
But it was a good experience. I always said to my friends when I came back that North Korean women, they look better than like South Korean women at that time. Like they were beautiful. So it's like,
I heard that I saw in the documentary. They said because I guess they don't eat that much. Like
oh,
they're
I
very in
don't,
shape.
yeah, I don't know what, but when I came back, I was just like, huh, it's true. Like North Korean women were I think more naturally aesthetically pleasing.
Mm.
A lot of South
Mm.
Korean women use use a ton of makeup, and it's
Mhm.
not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
It's just for me, in my opinion, I was like, wow, North Korean women, okay.
So I mean, did you feel like being? I mean, I'm sure it's not many black people in North Korea. I mean, was they kind of like looking at you like in awe and kind of like putting you off to the side? Like, hey, man, it's like only person I know in North Korea was Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah, actually, I thought people would look at me very strangely, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't. They just like glanced and then they went on about their business. Like
Mm-hmm.
here in South Korea, like when I'm walking, even in my neighborhood, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking, like people will always like stop and just like look at me walk by, and I'm like, yeah, hey,
Right.
this happens everywhere. It's like they can see foreigners, especially African American foreigners,
Mm-hmm.
on television very often, but a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people in the city don't really have the chance to see them close up.
Mm-hmm.
So in North Korea, it wasn't the same as it is here in Korea. They look at me and they want to talk to me. They're smiling, but then they just go on about their business.
Okay. Okay. And is it kind of like in Thailand where they question you like exactly what nationality you are? Like, so when they ask like, because I know in Thailand they be oh, where you from? Like immediately, are you from African? Are you American? Oh, you're American. Okay, it's like that.
I never had that experience in Thailand. Here in Korea, they do. They ask you in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you, you're a foreigner. Like, where do you come from? And
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you
Mm-hmm.
are from,
Mm-hmm.
you can receive like uh, a different response. Like if you say you're from like America or England or one of those places, maybe you know people are like more welcoming to you. But Southeast Asia,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're kind of like, okay, Southeast Asia.
Okay, and Korea. Just remind me exactly where is that at? Is that considered to be Southeast Asia or?
Korea is Northeast Asia.
Okay, okay, okay. Because Thailand's far south, like more south.
Right, about 5 hours south of us.
Okay, okay.
Plane
And
by
just give us a general rundown. 'Cause I know you don't got to say all 30 countries, but just kind of give us that because I mean you've been to Mongolia everywhere, man. So like,
plane.
just give us a little general rundown of the countries.
Yeah, so okay, I'm in South Korea, North Korea, Japan,
Mhm.
Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Malaysia, uh, Taiwan,
Mhm.
Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kenya, uh, Egypt,
Mhm.
Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, um, France, Italy, Spain, Luxembourg, Germany,
Mhm.
uh, Canada, US. Uh, I'm pretty sure I'm missing some countries in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I know you got a lot. You don't got to say all of
Yeah.
them, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that's a lot, man. That is a lot. Like, what was your experience? We'll go back to Kazakhstan and everything, but what was your experiences in Africa? Because you've been pretty much Eastern Africa, and I'm looking forward to going to Kenya myself. But what was your experiences there?
Kenya, Kenya is amazing. You'll love it. There's nothing you'll not like about Kenya.
Hmm.
East Africa in general is it's a different world.
Hmm.
Definitely is a different world. it was my no, it wasn't my first time to see this, but yeah, life there is a bit different. They're more basic, I should say. And
Hmm.
yeah, if you go there, you're gonna stand out. So I thought coming from America, I was like, I'm African American, I have African heritage, and if I go to Africa, I'm gonna like fit in.
Hmm.
It wasn't the case. Like people know that you're different because of the color of our skin.
Hmm.
The majority of African Americans were multi-generationally mixed
Right.
um, because of enslavement.
Hmm.
So our skin color is very different than Africans, um, depending on where you go. So yeah, they look at you a little differently. They smile to you a lot, but
Hmm.
also they they can try to get over on you sometimes because you're American.
Hmm.
But for the most part, yeah, it's enjoyable experience.
It's funny because I had a show yesterday, and my man Jay Focus was on, and
Okay.
Skylar came on, and we had like a section of talking about the scams in Africa.
Oh yeah.
And I think we what we both took away from it is that you pretty much can get kind of scammed everywhere, but in certain countries and cities, it's like on steroids versus like low key. I give you prime example. In San Domingo, right? I am gonna get gringo taxed on most little things, you know. But even the gringo tax that I'm paying is 10 times cheaper than what I would pay in the States. For example, my laptop went out a few weeks ago, right? And I told my girl, I said, yeah, they only charged me because they were trying to charge me two places wanted to charge me $1,000. Then I found a spot that charges me $300. And I'm like, oh hell yeah, let's do it.
Mm.
And I tell my girl, and she's still pissed. She's like, oh, that's still too much. It would have been $100, $200 for me. And I'm just like, in America, it would have been $1,500.
Yeah.
So, but I just think in certain cases, like in touristy areas, it's going to be more so on steroids. But if it's like $1 or two more than a local would pay, I'm not really tripping.
Yeah. I mean, I know Central Asia is not Africa, but when
Mhm.
I travel to Central Asia and you're going to or I go to some of the markets,
Mhm.
they'll try to overcharge me, but
Mhm.
it's like 50 cents or
Right.
something like that. And in East Africa, it was similar.
Mhm.
Maybe they would overcharge me like 25 cents or 30 cents or something like that. Something that I won't even think about. So
Okay. And just tell us a little bit about Mongolia.
Mongolia.
Yeah, I think that's your biggest video, right?
Yeah, I think Mongolia is my biggest video. One of them.
Uh-huh.
One of the Mongolian videos. Mongolia is a special place to me. It's got my heart.
Mhm.
Um, People sleep on Mongolia a lot. It's not one of the main travel destinations
Mhm.
of travelers. I would suggest, or I would think, but Mongolia has nature. It has good food. People are very friendly to foreigners.
Mhm.
Um,
Sorry about
I
that.
actually, it's okay. I actually broke my wrist in Mongolia
Mhm.
over the summer. I jumped off a horse that went crazy, so I had to have surgery in Mongolia.
Mhm.
And everyone in the hospital, they did their best to take care of me,
Mhm.
and it's a really good experience. I love that place so much.
And do they speak English out there? How do you communicate?
They can't speak English. Some people can speak English, but usually, when I go, I have a friend who's like my brother. He's a tour guide. He can speak English, so he takes me to many places.
Mhm.
And also, a lot of the tour guides and other people that I know, they can speak Korean, so I can speak like basic Korean with them, and they can help me out.
Okay. I mean, is it always that type of weather out there? Is it like snow?
No, only it's cold from like maybe the end of August
Mhm.
until like March or April. Temperatures get to -40, -50 degrees
Mhm.
Celsius, and it's cold, but it's a dry kind of cold, so it's not unbearable.
Mhm. So man, you be traveling off the beaten path. Like I mean, I got a ton of questions for you, brother. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, did you see any other black people out there or
In Mongolia,
yeah.
I think I saw one or two other African Americans,
Oh,
but
really? Okay.
yeah, but
I
at
know. I know
different,
the Africans be everywhere. You'd be surprised what Africans be. Them motherfuckers be
yeah,
everywhere. You'd be like, damn, you know. But okay, so you saw a few.
yeah. Every when I went at different times, like not all together, and there are some Africans there who are working. I met one African via virtual video on Facebook or something, and he's actually an English teacher in some like province out in the countryside. And I was like, wait, what? You're an English teacher,
Mhm.
So they are there, but I don't see very many of them.
Okay. Okay. This is interesting, man. It looks pretty almost like Russia a little bit from the looks of it.
A bit. They were heavily influenced by Russia
Okay.
in the early 20th century. So
Okay. Okay. All right. And then like when did you start going to Kazakhstan?
I went to Kazakhstan for the first time this summer.
Hmm. Okay.
My I had a friend who I have a friend here in Korea who's from Uzbekistan, and I was planning on going to Uzbekistan, and I just thought, why don't I make a trip of going to other Stan countries? So added Kazakhstan to the list, and yeah, got some of my friends together, and we went.
Okay. Okay. And now you had an experience out there with my man Danny. I saw your video.
Yeah,
If you want to kind of give us a rundown, because Danny, I guess he kind of pulled you to the club.
yeah. I'm not a club person at all. I enjoy going home early so I can sleep or read or something and wake up early, exercise, do stuff. But Danny was like, "Yeah, man, come on. I'm only here one time. You're not going to see me, very often. Just come." And I was like, "All right." So I went to the club with Danny, and my thing was like, I'm just going to stay for maybe an hour and then I'm going to go home. So we go to the bar. Danny's like, "Let me buy you some water." I was like, "Appreciate it." We got the water. And then we go to the dance floor and we're just checking out the scene. And then I started dancing by myself. I'm just dancing alone. And I'm not looking for girls to dance with me. I'm not trying to talk to anyone. I'm just dancing alone, drinking my water. And then a group of girls, they come over and they start dancing with me. And then Danny comes over and they start dancing with Danny. And I was dancing and the girl started dancing on me. And I was like, okay, cool. And then this Kazakh guy, he like taps me on the shoulder. And I turn around. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And he was like, "This girl is, my girlfriend." And I'm like, "What?" Then he says, boyfriend. I'm like, boyfriend? Like, what are you talking about? Then he says, boyfriend. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't have a boyfriend. I like women. And he says, no, boyfriend. And then Danny comes over. He says, he's trying to explain to you that this girl is.
That's the guy right there, right?
Yeah. He's trying to explain to you that that girl is his girlfriend. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm not dancing with her. I was like dancing by myself, and you can see this girl here. She came over and started dancing with me. I was minding my own business. So then we go outside, this girl and I, and just to get some fresh air. I was hot, and then this guy follows us, and he starts speaking Kazakh to her, and she tells me that he says, "Why are you dancing with this foreigner? You shouldn't be, with a foreigner. I'm a Kazakh guy. You should be with me." And I'm just like, I'm just minding my own business. I came outside to get some air. I'm not even like trying to get this girl's number or anything like that. I just went outside to get air, drinking water. So I realized at that point that maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go to the club, because I've heard stories of other African Americans going to places like Greece and getting beat up and killed. So yeah, this is one reason why I don't go to the clubs, especially in foreign countries.
So was it because Danny, he explained his version of the club, and I thought it sounded pretty serious. Was it pretty intense there? Because to me, it seemed like it could have been a situation.
It could have been possibly. I was just dancing. I was like in the zone. I was like doing my thing, and the Kazakh guys, they just kept coming. not all of them, but just maybe 2 or 3. They just kept coming, and I guess they were trying to like include themselves in our little dance group with the other girls. I had no problem with that. They can come and dance and do whatever they want, but the issue was they just kept getting in my face, like blah 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 blah, blah. Like, girlfriend, blah blah blah, and I'm like, man, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just here, dancing, like minding my own business. People come to me, that's their choice. So yeah.
So you think it's just like everything besides the club atmosphere is pretty much like, cool. It's just that club atmosphere. Now, what if you decide to date a Kazakh girl? You're walking around. Are you going to have some type of smoke in general, just walking around dating a Kazakh girl?
I don't know. I think if I were to date a Kazakh girl like in public, I don't think many people would say anything. Maybe they will say something to her, or they could look at her, and wonder like, why are you with this foreigner, especially African American? Kazakhstan is a new country. They were under the auspices of the Soviet Union for a long time. So I think many Kazakh men are very protective of their women, as they should be.
Right.
But yeah, they should be. But going there as a foreigner, them not understanding your culture, you don't really understand their culture. Maybe there can be some misunderstandings. So actually, my first time in Kazakhstan, I met a girl who is like my friend, and we were just walking around. We filmed a YouTube video, actually.
I seen that. Yeah, I seen that video.
And people like looked at us, but they didn't say like anything. We weren't on a date. We were just walking around, filming. People just looking. So yeah, I think people are curious, but that's in the city. Maybe if you go to the countryside, it could be a bit different.
Okay. And is it like the same vibe in, let's say, Korea, or that's just kind of like a Kazakh thing?
No, in Korea is much more liberal. Much more liberal.
Okay.
When I dated Korean girls, sometimes you can get like the looks from guys, like, you're dating like one of our women. And one time one of my ex-girlfriends told me that there's a guy who was just staring at us, and he had a really nasty look on his face. And I was like, he's probably upset because he's wondering, how could you get such an attractive guy? I was just joking around with her.
Right.
But yeah, she said, yeah, he doesn't like us being together. I'm just like, I mean, what can you do? Yeah, that's my friend.
And she's in Kazakh. She's Kazakh, right?
She's Kazakh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's cool. She's pretty cool.
All right, and so the most part, you say in Korea is pretty much more liberal. It's like a fast-paced city. Everybody's kind of mind their own business.
Right. No one really like cares that much. Actually, here in Korea, you can see there are a lot of Korean men who are dating foreign women now. A lot. I see that more often than I see Korean women dating foreign men.
Okay. Do you ever see Korean men dating like black women or anything like that, or Afro women?
Yeah, there are a few YouTube channels with Korean guys who are married to African American women or women of African descent, and yeah, they have children. And yeah, sometimes people look at them strange because the older generation, they don't really accept that, but the newer generation, they're okay. They just like look, it's interesting. They go on about their business.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Mm.
Now there's like, which country would you say had the strongest hip hop influence that you? I know you don't really go to clubs like that, but does Korea have like a little strong like hip hop things? I know in Japan they do.
They do. Korea has I don't want to say little, but it's pretty visible here, I should say. Pretty palpable in society, especially K-pop. K-pop is, based off of hip hop. So, you can go to hip hop clubs or hip hop bars here, and yeah, just enjoy yourself listening to quote unquote our music.
Right. And guys, go ahead and follow my man Francois Mark. Let me put you in the comic section, man, because you got a lot of great content. Now you did a video said the most racist country.
Oh,
It
yes.
was like being black in South Korea versus America. You want to just kind of give us a little rundown of that video?
Sure. A lot of foreigners I hear these days are saying how Korea is very racist.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people understand what the term racist means, because most people don't understand what the term race is, in my opinion. I'm not speaking for everyone, just what I think. So in this video, I just detail my experiences about how Korea doesn't have a lot of interaction, or that much interaction with foreigners, on a large scale basis. It's 90 to 95% homogenous country. So everyone here looks pretty much the same. So, in their daily lives, they don't have a lot of interaction with foreigners. Sometimes when foreigners come here and we apply for jobs or we want different opportunities, we can be discriminated against because Korea may look for a certain type of person to represent them, usually like European. So my thing is like, okay, in Korea, you can experience like some kind of discrimination like that, but I don't think Koreans, for the most part, understand that it's discrimination because they don't have a lot of contact or interactions with that many foreigners. So I think their idea of like this good foreigner is the stereotypical European man. Who's quote unquote white, because most Koreans, they can remember images of the Korean War, and most of the soldiers were European looking. There were African American soldiers, of course, but most of the soldiers were European looking. So, you know, education helps. So as more and more foreigners come, more and more African Americans come to Korea, then the whole like vibe begins to change. Like they're more accepting. Just the other day, I was out filming a YouTube video, or a couple of YouTube videos, and I was just walking around, and so many people, older people, younger people, they're just smiling at me, waving at me, and just saying like, hi, and giving me like the Korean heart sign, like heart, heart, heart.
Oh, you had in Korea too? Okay.
Yeah, they do that here too a lot.
Okay.
So, it's starting to change. You have to give this culture some time. I had a job where I went to the interview, and in the video I say this, how after I finished my demo class, one of the teachers came out and he was saying how, Francois, we really liked your interview, but unfortunately they want the white guy. And
they said that to you?
That's what one of the teachers said. And
oh wow.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, like whatever, like because one of my friends in Busan had a similar experience. He's also African American. And my whole thing is this: like, if someone says they don't want me, like, I can find an opportunity somewhere else. I'm not going to sit here and sulk and pout and be like, oh man, I'm not white, no one cares about me, I can't get this job. I'm like, okay, cool, like, thanks for at least telling me up front that this is the kind of image that you want your school to portray. Let me go look for another institution that will accept me for me being me. So yeah, there's some conflict there.
That's interesting. They just like, they don't have no filter. They just kind of come out and just say, because in America they won't say that, but they'll do it, but they won't say it.
Korea can be direct sometimes, but it's direct because they don't know. They don't know that it's, and we can't say that it's wrong because it's just their culture. That's how they are. So as time changes, as more and more foreigners come because of globalization, you don't see these kind of incidents anymore. Case in point, here in Korea, it's really big on skincare. They had this procedure called skin whitening. But these days, they don't use skin whitening anymore. They use skin brightening because they understand the connotation that whitening brings with any kind of product. Like, you want to make me white, like, so Korea is changing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Asia. It's like you definitely see the TV, the ads, like this kind of like this whitening. For example, when I was in Thailand, I had no idea there were actually Asians around my complexion. Like I had no idea. Like that's the first time I ever seen in my life when I seen a dark skinned Thai guy, and I couldn't stop. But I was the one staring because I couldn't help. I'm like,
yeah,
like what like where you come from? You know what I mean? And of course, so you see that, but you never see though. You almost never see dark skinned Asians anywhere in the media or TV. Like, it's something like they just forgotten about, but you see them out maybe in the countryside or something like that. But for the a lot of them being the motos and everything like that. But it is like a preference of promotion of whiteness there. Like they want to be fair skinned, and I think that it's like with classism, like it associated with classism to where the people of darker complexion are outside in the fields working, being darkened by the sun out there, and the people that have lighter skin are a little bit more successful. That kind of generally out there, because I know Korea is like more North Asian, so I don't think there's any dark skinned Koreans out there, but you'll definitely see that in like Southeast Asia. That
exists here in Korean culture as well. They have
so you got darker Koreans.
Yeah, they have the same mentality that if your skin is dark, it means you work outside in the field. If your skin is lighter, that means you're in the house or you have more of an aristocratic kind of life. So my favorite city in Korea is called Mokpo. Mokpo is in the southwestern part of Korea. Like the Busan is in the very southeastern part. Mokpo is in the very southwestern part. I go there maybe once, twice a year, and you can see Koreans like my complexion or darker.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm like, what in the world? Like, I can't see this in Seoul. You can see darker skinned Koreans in Seoul, but not as dark as me or darker. But down in the South, you can see them.
Do you think, or have you heard that the darker complected get any type of discrimination against them? Or
yes, I've heard this.
Okay.
Some of my students, they tell me when they were growing up, some of their friends would say like, "Oh, your skin is dark." Like they would have these nicknames for their friends because they have darker skin. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, darker skin? Like you're maybe half a shade darker than the person who's like jeering you. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, but whatever.
It's funny, man, because I was dating a Cambodian woman, and we was on the beach, and you know how they are on the beach, but she was just like, "Oh, I love my skin complexion." Matter of fact, both of Cambodian women that I was kind of talking to out there, they both was all about their skin. Like they don't care. They were both brown skin. They was about your complexion, and they was like, "Oh yeah, I ain't with that skin white and shit. I like my skin." Like, matter of fact, they told me the lotion to use, the soap, because a lot of the soaps in Thailand got the bleach in them. You know what I mean? So she's like, "I don't use that soap. Use this. Use this type of lotion. Use this type of soap. It's better for darker skin."
Here in Seoul, people get caught up in, I think, a superficial kind of lifestyle. So you see on the media, as you said earlier, this image of white or bright. So many people, they use a lot of skin whitening creams here or skin brightening creams. So you can see a lot of lighter skinned Koreans here in Seoul. Same thing happened to me when I went to East Africa. I was in Tanzania. I went to a pharmacy and I was looking for some alcohol or something, rubbing alcohol. And the pharmacist, he was a dark skinned African. And I was like, man, I told him, I was like, your skin looks so nice. Like it's so like complete. There are no like blemishes or anything in your skin. And he was like, no. I think your skin is the best. And I was like, mine? He was like, yeah. I was like, no. I really love your skin. And he was like, no. So these days, he says, I'm using skin cream to make my skin lighter. And I was like, what? Why? Why would you do that? Like, you have perfect skin. Like my skin, even though I still have some melanin, of course, or visible melanin, you can still see blemishes. But his skin, you can't see anything. I'm like, why would you want to lighten that up? So I think a lot of this comes from like colonization and also the image that there's a leftover image from colonization that still permeates through global society. I think I can say it like that.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. I was telling guys on the show yesterday, I said, man, I think, and people can challenge me on this. I think that Black Americans are probably amongst the most proudest Black people on the planet. I'm just saying, like, we the only ones that don't really be caring about that shit. Like, you know, like for the most part, most of us don't do the cream, the lightning, and none of it. We just, and our families look mixed. Like our families are all light to the lightest light to the darkest dark, because of course, you know, just this, you know, the slave thing. So everybody's kind of mixed in brown. You know, my mom light skin, my dad dark skin. You know, so it's just like a mix. But in other cultures, like it's weird because it's just like, because you're light skinned, you're not one of us. Like that shit is weird as hell to us. Like it's everywhere too. Like it's best definitely in South America and the Caribbean. But I think I want to say we're the only group that's really together like that, because our situation was much different in America than anywhere else. Like they drew a hard line. They didn't care about the skin complexions. Like these white folk, we you know, we was the most, they were just hardcore with it. They didn't care. They was like, nah, I don't care if you got green eyes and light skin. Your ass is over there with the Black people.
Yeah, right. you're one of them. So you got a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah. You got, because we had the paper bag test, right? So there you go, right there. Like, no, get your ass over there. You know?
They did that. There are some secluded African American communities also that that had this paper bag test. You know, they wouldn't allow people darker than the paper bag to move into their communities.
The blue bloods, the Boule bloods. Yeah.
I think I got a book over here about that. Anyways, yeah. I think, what was I gonna say? I think more so than not, maybe we're not concerned so much African Americans with like skin color or like colorism, because maybe in our minds we're already like colored or uncolored, or like we have a European kind of mindset. So maybe we feel closer to that standard of beauty or perfection mentally. So I guess we don't need to broadcast it, you know, physically, that we want to look like them, because we've been acculturated to European standards already. So I guess that's a deal for another day.
But you know, it's interesting, man, that I'm almost more proud to be Black American than I was before I left. I was already a proud, you know, brother, but now like I've traveled the world, it's like, wow, I'm even more proud now, because because it's just like, I mean, we represent, like we're not really trying to kowtow to anybody. We're not trying to like do none of that bullshit. Like we're not insecure about anything. You know, we're loud and we proud. Basically. You know what I mean? Like how many people besides maybe some spots in Africa and Brazil? I gave it to Brazil because Brazil had a movement, they social movement as well. But I mean, we kind of stayed on it. We just been bucking this whole system like the whole damn time. As a matter of fact, I've seen this twice. I've seen it one with somebody from the Rockefeller family and another little Bilderberg. Watch what I say on YouTube. But I've seen these little enclaves of, you know how they have these meetings and they always say that the Black Americans are a problem. Besides the population growth in Africa, it's like, yeah, the Black Americans, they're issue, they're a problem. You know, we got to watch them Black Americans. And I used to always wonder that. I used to be like, why? Like, why? Like, what are we doing? We don't really do shit, but just party and drink for the most part in America. But they always say that, hey, these Black Americans can kind of like, they can kind of get it together. So we got to watch them, because what they did for us, or not really did, what we did for ourselves, but we do have access to the financial structure of one of the biggest capitalist countries in the world. You know, like we tap into our American dollars. That's normally like, it ain't too many cultures of Black people that can get a credit score and go get a $500,000 loan.
True that.
It's nowhere else on the planet but America. For them, unless you're in London or something, don't get me wrong. Maybe in some other countries, I don't know of them. But I just say in the United States, you can literally get a fucking LLC. You know what I'm saying? Get a business credit score, you and a partner or whatever, and go get $500,000 in like 3 years.
Yeah.
And don't have to pay it back and not go to jail.
Yeah.
You can just lose it. You can literally just spend the money and say, oh, I blew it, guys. And 5 years later, get another $500,000. There's no other country in the world they can do that in. Now, the flip side of that is you don't want to live in America for the most part. It's just, you know, at least I don't. Most people don't. You know what I'm saying? Everybody try to leave America.
Yeah, I don't want to live in the States. Sometimes people, they get me wrong. sometimes people think, Francois, you're like very anti-American.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, I'm not anti-American. I'm probably as American as anyone, in the world. I bleed, red, white, and blue. But as an American, I do have the right to criticize my country. Uh,
Mhm.
and uh, that's something that I think a lot of people should get used to. Like, don't get comfortable with the status quo. Like, it's okay to challenge things. In my experience is that there are some things in America that don't work well with a lot of people. So if you have the opportunity to leave and explore new horizons, then why not do that? Which is something that I did. So I I love America,
Mhm.
and I benefit greatly from America being strong and
Mhm.
America having a strong image, around the world. My
Mhm.
American passport like gets me into a lot of places that other people can't go, especially with my skin complexion.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love the United States, but I can love it from afar, and I do have the right to to just voice my opinion on things that I don't agree with. Of course, I'm not throwing bottles of fire or trying to tear down the stars and stripes or anything. But yeah, America, as you said, there are some benefits, there are some cons, just like everywhere else in the world. So
Exactly, exactly, man. Well, we've been at it for a good little minute, brother. I got just a few more questions before we go.
sure.
I mean, I know this might be kind of difficult to do, but I always ask this, like, just kind of give your top countries. You don't got to do top 5, top 10. Just kind of like what countries you know a lot of guys would like that's not really generally spoken about, talked about.
I think a lot of guys would love Kenya. A lot of
Hmm.
guys would love Rwanda. Rwanda
Hmm.
is so clean. Um, there are a lot of good-looking women there. I know a lot of guys want to travel for women. Me personally, I don't travel for women. I travel because I want to see like landscapes and I want to experience culture. I
Hmm.
actually, I teach culture at the university here in Korea where I work. So I travel mainly because I want to teach that culture to my students. But I think those two countries are really good to experience culture, and maybe if you're looking for a wife or something like that. um Kyrgyzstan is really nice. Kyrgyzstan is really nice. It's cheap.
Hmm.
It's the infrastructure is okay, but it's a really wonderful country. Kazakhstan, of course. um Mongolia is really nice. I think Central Asia in general. Southeast Asia, maybe it's overflowing now with a lot of expats.
It
So not
is,
so
yeah.
much. Yeah, not so much. I think Central Asia is a really nice place to visit, to explore. However, if you're a passport bro, or
Hmm.
I don't want to say passport bro, but if you're like a guy who's trying to go to a different country to
Hmm.
like sleep with a lot of women
Hmm.
and to like run up your tally, Central Asia is not the place to go.
Hmm. Okay.
Not the place to go. You can get into some serious trouble if you go with that mentality. If you want to go there, you want to visit, you want to, experience life there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good. And then as time goes on, you meet a woman, and you very secretly like marry her. You don't broadcast it to everyone. It's a good place, but don't go to Central Asia with this American black American mindset.
Just
Uh,
hook up culture
yeah,
mindset.
hookup culture or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Mm.
saying. So
That's a good point. That's a good
yeah.
point. I'm glad you said that, man. It's funny because uh, 2 days in a row we've had guys mention that Africa is a good spot to kind of you know meet a good wife and
Mm,
enjoy yourself. Like they
mm.
put Africa on top. Have you been any South? You've been in South America though, right?
I haven't been to South America yet.
Okay, okay, okay. Cool,
Not yet.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
man.
with all places go with respect, but
Mhm.
especially Central Asia.
Okay. Well, before we go, man, let's tell us a little bit about your channel, what you got coming up on your channel, and to follow you.
Okay, so yeah, my channel is called Francois Mark. It's basically my experiences living in Korea and traveling to different countries around the world. I have a new video coming up about like how Korea continues to do this, like about the safety and comfort and just the viability of Korean society to keep foreigners and Koreans in order. So yeah, I just share my experiences, my life experiences, and hopefully the younger generation or people who are also traveling or wanting to move abroad can benefit from my life. That's basically it.
All right, man. Guys, make sure to sub and follow my man Francois. He has a really dope channel. If you're not subbed to me, make sure to sub to me as well. Been another great interview. Appreciate you coming on, brother. We out of here.
PNT. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.